Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to tackle something really crucial. How companies, well, how you should be rethinking social media marketing.
Yeah, things are definitely shifting.
We've got a recent Forbes CMO newsletter here, packed with key trends, expert takes. It's going to make you think whether you're running a business, you're in marketing, or, just curious about how this digital stuff keeps changing.
Right. Our goal is really just to cut through all the noise and give you the essentials.
Exactly. Because we're seeing these big shifts, aren't we, in how people behave online, the tech itself?
Absolutely. And understanding these changes isn't just like helpful anymore. It's becoming vital to stay competitive and effective with your marketing.
Okay, so let's unpack this. First big thing. It seems like generative AI is really, really taking off with consumers.
Oh, definitely. The influence is growing fast.
Yeah, this attest study, it's pretty striking. Get this. 2/3 of Americans have already used generative AI.
2/3. That's huge.
But here's the kicker. Nearly 70% trust the information it gives them, which, puts it right up there with trusting traditional search results. Google, Bing, that kind of thing.
That's speed.
Ah.
The speed of that trust building is what's really fascinating to me. I mean, not long ago, people were pretty skeptical about AI content, weren't they?
Totally.
And now, bam, it's a primary source for so many. It probably that perceived objectivity, the efficiency.
Makes sense.
But for marketers, it means, okay, this AI content can build credibility if it's accurate, if it's unbiased. You got to be so careful with fact-checking the ethics.
Right, got to maintain that trust. And it's not just for simple stuff either. The study shows how people are using it, almost half, researching purchases.
That's a massive shift in the buyer journey right there.
Huge. And 2 out of 5 are asking it to explain complex topics. Nearly a third use it as a study aid. And over a quarter, generating ideas, even drafting letters and emails. It's becoming this everyday helper.
It really connects to that bigger picture, doesn't it? AI isn't some sci-fi thing anymore. It's woven into daily routines.
Yeah.
And the fact that over half expect to use it more soon, and hardly anyone expects to use it less, well, that tells you it's a solid trend.
And what about the data privacy worry? There's a tiny bit of good news there, maybe. 35% trust AI companies with their data now.
Okay.
That's up 4% from last year. So maybe it opens doors for more personalized marketing, if you handle it right, obviously.
Yeah, that trust is fragile. It really brings up the question for marketers, how do you leverage this? It's not just using AI.
Right.
It's about building that transparent, trustworthy relationship in this new AI-shaped world.
And the study even touches on how people see AI in marketing. It seems like acceptance is growing slowly. 38% see its potential for creative ads now versus 34% last year.
Yeah, it's incremental, but still significant. It suggests as the tools get better and people get more used to them, that perception of AI creativity in ads will likely keep climbing.
Okay. But for anyone listening who's maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this AI talk, there's some comfort here. Traditional search, it's not dead. Far from it. Over half, 56.6%, plan to use search engines the same amount.
Right.
And over a quarter actually plan to use them more. So SEO, classic search marketing, still really important.
That is such a critical point. AI is rising fast, yes, but good old search is still fundamental for discovery. You really need a mix, right? AI stuff and solid SEO.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've got AI changing how consumers find info. Now let's pivot a bit. Remember that TikTok blackout in the US? It was brief, but
Oh, yeah. Caused some panic.
it really highlighted how risky it can be to put all your eggs in one social media basket, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even temporary. It was a stark reminder that you don't own these platforms. You don't control them. They can just vanish or
Yeah.
change drastically overnight.
Exactly. And Forbes talks to Jonathan Goodman. He's a fitness entrepreneur who built his brands without getting totally hooked on social media.
Interesting perspective.
He points out that even though there were warnings about a potential TikTok ban, loads of marketers, influencers, they were probably still caught completely flat-footed.
Goodman's view is spot on there. You're building on rented land, essentially. These platforms have their own agendas, their own priorities, and they might not line up with yours. Leaves you vulnerable.
And he makes another great point. The platforms are designed to be addictive, right? Even for the creators.
Oh, absolutely.
You get sucked into the likes, the comments, the constant need to post. And maybe you lose sight of the bigger marketing picture, the stuff that's actually sustainable.
That focus on just one platform's metrics. It can give you tunnel vision. You get obsessed with optimizing for TikTok or Instagram or whatever,
Yeah.
and you forget to build a more diverse, robust strategy that gives you long-term stability.
Hmm. So given this fragmentation, this instability, how should brands rethink things? Goodman has some smart ideas. He talks about finding your unique 1%.
Your differentiator.
Exactly. What makes you special? And finding that uncommon commonality with your ideal customer. It's about narrowing the focus, going deeper.
That focus on differentiation is key.
Yeah.
It's so noisy out there, you have to understand and serve your core audience really, really well.
And instead of just chasing huge, maybe passive audiences,
Mhm.
he says focus on deeper connections with influential people in your niche. Quality over quantity.
Precisely. Cultivating those strong ties with the right influencers in your specific space often pays off way more than just having a massive follower count that isn't really engaged.
He also breaks down social media growth into 4 stages. Stage
Mm.
1, creating for yourself, like just figuring things out.
Right.
Stage 2, creating for your customers. Stage 3, creating for your industry.
Yeah.
And stage 4, creating for the world.
Okay.
And his big recommendation for most businesses, focus hard on stage 2.
Creating for your customers.
Yeah. Use social media, email, podcasts, whatever. Use them to nurture the customers you already have. Answer their questions, build loyalty, get referrals. Don't just chase new leads all the time.
That's a really powerful shift in thinking, isn't it? Less about pure acquisition, more about retention and deepening relationships.
It's like treating these platforms as customer service channels almost,
Mm.
or specialized sales pages. Make content that's genuinely helpful to your existing people.
And that kind of valuable content often resonates outwards anyway,
Yeah.
right? Happy customers talk.
Exactly. It naturally attracts the right kind of new people, too.
This customer-first approach,
Mm.
it just feels more sustainable, more profitable long-term. Happy, informed customers stick around, they buy more, they tell their friends.
Which leads us right into rethinking success metrics. Goodman says ditch the vanity stuff, the likes, the follower counts.
Yeah, the feel-good numbers that don't always mean much.
Right. Focus on tangible business results. How many real inquiries are you getting? What's your customer acquisition cost? What's your retention rate?
Because the platform metrics, they're often about keeping people scrolling, keeping them entertained on the platform itself.
Which might not be your actual business goal at all.
It highlights that potential mismatch. The platform wants engagement time, you want sales or loyalty or whatever your objective is. They're not always the same thing.
He even mentions Goodhart's Law. Ever heard of that?
Vaguely.
Remind me.
It basically says when a measure becomes the goal, it ceases to be a good measure.
Ah, right.
Like if you just focus on getting clicks, you might get tons of clicks that don't convert, right? So the click number looks great, but it's misleading.
It's a really important reminder to stay focused on what actually moves the needle for your business, not just chasing platform engagement for engagement's sake.
Absolutely. Measure what matters for your bottom line.
That gives you a much clearer, truer picture of how your marketing's actually performing.
Okay, shifting gears pretty dramatically now. Let's talk bots.
Oh boy.
This is, frankly, it's alarming. A Design Rush report says 80% of all web traffic is bots now.
80%. That's
Yeah.
staggering. And it went up 7% in just 1 year. Yep. Think about that. Beyond how we use social media, there's this massive undercurrent of non-human traffic messing with everything.
It really puts the scale of it into perspective. The implications are huge for any online business.
Just imagine a massive slice of your digital ad budget, poof, spent reaching bots that will never ever buy anything.
It's potentially enormous waste. Makes you wonder how many of your followers are just sophisticated code, doesn't it?
Seriously. And it's not just wasted ad spend, is it?
No, exactly. All that bot traffic
Ah,
inflates your server costs, your security costs.
yeah.
You're spending resources just dealing with fake traffic instead of serving real customers.
And it's not just advertisers feeling the pinch from automation. News publishers are facing a huge challenge, too.
AI search impact.
Yeah, this Tollbit report, also from Forbes, it says AI search engines send 96% less referral traffic to news sites and blogs compared to traditional search.
96% less. That's devastating. It's a direct threat to the business model of publishers who rely on site visits for ad revenue, subscriptions, you name it.
And why is it happening? Because the big AI companies, OpenAI, Perplexity, Meta, they're just scraping website content like crazy,
Mm-hmm.
averaging like 2 million scrapes per company in Q4 2024.
Hmm.
Each page scraped about 7 times. They vacuum up the content.
For train their models and give users answers directly, so the user never needs to click through to the original site.
Exactly. Which raises massive ethical questions, legal questions about ownership, fair use.
Yeah, publishers are basically having their own work used to compete directly against them. It doesn't seem right.
And it looks like that Gartner prediction from last year. Remember they said traditional search traffic might drop 25% by 2026 because of AI?
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, it seems to be happening, maybe even faster. And Forbes itself, they mention, has taken legal action. Cease and desist to Perplexity, joining a lawsuit against Cohere.
Wow, so the fight is definitely heating up.
Yeah, it underscores these growing tensions between AI giants and content creators. The outcomes of these legal battles could seriously reshape how we get information online.
Definitely something to watch.
Okay, let's lighten the mood slightly. A look at some creative marketing during the Oscars.
Ah, yes. Viewership was up, wasn't it?
Yeah, highest in 5 years, nearly 20 million people. And during the ads, something cool happened.
The multi-brand stunt thing.
Exactly. L'Oreal, Carnival Cruises, Kiehl's, MNTN, Samsung, they all teamed up.
Right.
6 ads, all featuring stunt performers. Biggest multi-brand ad stunt ever at the Oscars, apparently.
Yeah.
Over 75 stunt pros involved.
That's pretty clever, tying into the whole movie magic theme.
Totally. And the L'Oreal one was great. You had this stunt performer in a fancy dress crashing through glass.
Uh-huh.
But her makeup using their setting mist stays perfect. It's
Yeah.
memorable, right? Shows the product actually working under pressure.
It really shows the power of being creative and, contextually relevant.
Yeah.
They aligned with the Oscars vibe and probably made a much bigger splash than just running a standard ad.
For sure. Okay, shifting gears again from Hollywood to baseball, the Washington Nationals.
Ah, yeah. They're making some business moves.
They are. They just hired Excel Sports Management to find partners for stadium naming rights and a jersey patch sponsor.
And they're the last MLB team without those deals,
The
right?
very last one, big opportunity for them. Could be worth over $20 million a year, people estimate.
Wow, that's significant revenue.
And even if the team isn't, winning the World Series every year, the stadium's in a great spot in D.C.
Yeah.
Navy Yard, lots of tourists, lots of visibility.
Good point. Location matters.
So they're looking for long-term deals, minimum 20 years for the stadium name, minimum 3 for the jersey patch. Probably hear announcements this summer.
It just shows that traditional marketing, like big sports sponsorships, is still very much alive and kicking. Offers that broad reach, that long-term visibility.
Definitely. Okay, finally, one last kind of surprising trend from the New York Toy Fair.
Oh, what's that?
The adult toy market.
Wait, like actual toys for grown-ups?
Yeah. Apparently, it's the fastest growing part of the whole toy industry right now.
Seriously? That is surprising.
Hasbro data says 46%, almost half, of U.S. adults bought a toy for themselves last year.
Huh. Okay. So what kind of toys are we talking about?
Well, it seems like reimagined classics, collectibles, and big companies like Mattel are leaning in. Their chief brand officer talks about toys as art.
Toys as art. Interesting take.
Yeah, they even partnered with 80 artists to interpret their products. It feels like the lines are blurring between play, art, collectibles, nostalgia.
That makes sense. It taps into that desire adults have for novelty, self-expression, maybe reliving childhood a bit, but in a new way.
Exactly. And it opens up possibilities way beyond just toys, right? Like product development, marketing, targeting this growing group.
Absolutely. A fascinating trend with potentially wide implications.
So let's wrap this up. We've covered a ton today.
We really have.
Generative AI changing everything for consumers and marketers, opportunities, challenges.
Right. The risks of leaning too hard on one social platform, the need for customer focus.
The insane amount of bot traffic online, the squeeze AI is putting on publishers.
Plus, those creative marketing examples. The Oscars, the Nats sponsorship.
And yeah, the surprising boom in adult toys.
It all paints a picture of a digital landscape that's constantly in flux.
And for you listening, getting a handle on these shifts is just so important now, whether you're deep in marketing or just trying to navigate this digital world.
Recognizing AI's power and its limits, understanding platform volatility, focusing on real customer connections, that gives you a real edge.
Definitely. So here's a final thought to chew on. As AI gets deeper into our lives and everything online keeps fragmenting, what does a genuine connection even mean anymore?
Good question.
For us as people and for the brands we deal with, how do you prioritize real, authentic engagement and build lasting relationships when everything's getting so automated?
Something to really think about. How do you stay human in all of this?
Exactly. Lots to consider. Thanks for diving deep with us today.